Hello everyone, Tactical Itch here. Previously I talked about how the Regiment of Renowned Mutilar Vortex Beast, Aeson the Fallen, can do some really solid damage with the Maelstrom of Change Chain Hex. And in this battle, up against a Bretonnian army on the ranked matchmaking ladder, we will try to put this Regiment of Renowned Vortex Beast to good use. Now, for the army build here, we are going with Warriors of Chaos with a front line of regular Marauders backed up by a bunch of Halberds, 2 Chaos Warriors with Halberds, and 1 Severed Claw, Aspiring Champions Regiment of Renown with Halberds. And now for the rest of the army, 4 units of Murder Horsemen with throwing axes for their AP skirmishing power to work down enemy Grail Cav, and they're led by Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Tinge and a regular Sorcerer of Death. This double sorcerer build is a fun unit combo I'm working on, but don't worry about it, they did nothing in this game and will be keeping the focus on Aeson the Fallen throughout the battle. Now on the other side, for the Bretonnian army of my opponent, 3 whole units of Grail Cavalry, 2 Grail Knights and 1 Royal Hippogriff Knight supporting Albrecht de Bordelou. On the ground, providing that infantry support is a bunch of, well, peasants of course, men-at-arms with shields and 1 single base layers of baston supported by a Grail Reliquary to provide them with immune to psychology. There's also a Damsel of Life to heal up Albrecht and the triple Grail Cav. That's it for the army builds. Now let's get the battle started. As the battle begins, I'm pushing up those Murder Horsemen with throwing axes, trying to skirmish down these Royal Hippogriff Knights, but they are flying and they are moving quite fast. So my throwing axes are struggling to land hits onto these fast-moving flyers, as they are just juking in the skies, dodging away from my AP shots, wasting my ammo. And at the same time, peasants are pushing up, trying to screen away my skirmishing forces, forcing me to waste shots into the men-at-arms with shields, as my throwing axes were on fire at will. So, a little bit of a poor trade for me at the beginning, but the Marauders will be moving up and will be charging into the peasant front line. They should be handily beating up these men-at-arms if they don't have anything supporting them. But of course, the Grail Knights are coming in with a Lance Formation charge. This Lancing charge will definitely run over quite a few of my Marauder infantry here on the far side. This Grail Knight is already slamming into my poor Marauders, squeezing their way through my infantry front line and leaving a dent in their HP bar. The Grail Knights over here though being countercharged by Aeson the Fallen, being hit by a Maelstrom of Change as well, draining away the health of both the Grail Knights and the men-at-arms. But there's a countercharge against the countercharge, Royal Hippogriff Knights and Albrecht de Bordelou diving down, forcing back the Aeson the Fallen here, though my throwing axis continues to shoot at the enemy targets, putting a dent in the Royal Hippogriff Knights HP bar. However, the countercharge of the countercharge was countercharged by another countercharge, as the Chaos Warriors with Halberds are coming in, screening back those Royal Hippogriff Knights. On the other side there, the Grail Knights continue to cycle charge, slamming down my Marauder infantry line here, so the Chaos Warriors with Halberds will be engaging into the frontline fight, trying to push back my opponent's cavalry and also, more importantly, drag them down in melee combat. Aeson the Fallen, without anything to stop him from rampaging through the infantry front line of the peasants, is now terrifying some men-at-arms. However, this leaves the backline wide open, and the Chaos Sorcerer of Death on foot is exposed to a charge from Albrecht and the dive bombing of a ton of Royal Hippogriff Knights. Throwing axes are supporting this engagement here, and Aeson the Fallen also charging in, but Albrecht managed to snipe out my Chaos Sorcerer Lord. Not exactly dead yet, but still severely weakened, almost on the verge of shattering as well. I'm trying to pin down Albrecht de Bordelou with a Chaos Spawn summon, but Albrecht managed to get back in the skies before the Chaos Spawns dropped, so the Spawns will have to just fight the nearest peasant, trying to recuperate some value before they disappear. While over here in the front line on the right flank, the Grail Knights and the Royal Hippogriff Knights sandwiching my poor Chaos Warriors with Halberds, despite being a relatively elite infantry. When there are so many Grail Cavalry surrounding you, overwhelming your position, yeah, you're just gonna die, even if you are a chosen, and these are just meager Chaos Warriors with Halberd, so yep, there goes my one expensive Halberd unit. On the far side there, Grail Knights are chasing down my skirmishing cavalry, managed to catch one in melee and drove them back, while the rest are just trying to skirmish down the Grail Knights with their throwing axes, slowly but surely chipping down their health as they are trying to catch up with the retreating Murder Horsemen. Over here, it's big pitched engagement where the Grail Knights are charging in alongside the Royal Hippogriff Knights, but the Grail Knights are being hit by Maelstrom of Change, putting a huge dent in their HP bar, which spread to the Royal Hippogriff Knights, Outbreak, and the nearby Beast Layers of Bretonnia as well, accruing some astonishing value for Aeson the Fallen. Now almost 2,200 gold worth of damage value. Aeson the Fallen definitely recuperating quite a bit of cost from the battle, and is still kicking strong with over half HP left. Halbert's moving in and forcing those Royal Hippogriff Knights to retreat back into the skies alongside Albrecht or Borderloo, while the Grail Knights are stuck in the ground, trying to fight through these anti-large armor-piercing infantry. Aeson the Fallen once again going after Albrecht or Borderloo, who is going after the Kill Sorcerer of Death. Sorcerer of Death once again being terrified away, and Aeson the Fallen will be returning to the infantry fight here, trying to finish off the Beast Layers of Bastion with his charge animation and the passive health drain, the Aura of Mutation. Severed Claw also fighting in the mix, being at full health thanks to their shields taking the damage. Outbreak really trying hard to snipe out the massive monster piece, and alongside some support of the Grail Knights, though the Grail Knights are extremely low in terms of health, continuously drained down by the Mutila Vortex piece and dragged down by Elite Halberds, and they'll be finished off, being routed away. Now the Royal Hippogriff Knights are diving down. However, they put themselves right in between the Chaos Warriors of Halbert and Aeson the Fallen. They can try to push through, but Aeson the Fallen will be blocking their retreating path, and behind them it is the Chaos Warriors with Halbert flooding in, providing some solid anti-large armor-piercing damage, and they took some pretty noticeable losses in terms of HP before they were able to pull back into the skies. Throwing axes are almost out of the ammo, but good news is that one of the Grail Cavalry is almost finished off by their consistent skirmishing firepower, though I will have to finish the Royal Hippogriff Knights and Outbreak in melee, which is a bit of an issue since I don't exactly have the initiative in this battle. Most of my opponent units just have more mobility than me. All I can rely on is my blob of melee units and hopefully grind down my opponent's cavalry in melee combat. My opponent right now is healing their units, with the Royal Hippogriff Knights still having 12 unit models, and I'm very worried that we'll be going into a draw kiting session because this was played on the ranked multiplayer ladder without any attacking rule enforcement. But a little spoiler here, thankfully my opponent didn't resort to that, and instead he is right now trying to be a little bit more aggressive, eliminating all the scattered remains of my army. Speaking of scattered remains, here are some depleted Grail Knights, which I can probably finish off by sending in some out of ammo Marauder Horsemen in melee. The Marauder Horsemen here still have one remaining volley of throwing axes, and they will try to maximize the damage with this volley, chucking the AP fire into the nearest target, that is the Hippogriff Knights. My opponent has done a great job at keeping the Hippogriff Knights alive, but unfortunately as their HP runs low, they start to lose models as well. First among them fell by the throwing axes. Still, they managed to rout off these Marauder Horsemen who have ran out of ammo entirely, while Albrecht still have over half health left, and really I have to rely on my melee units to grind down the enemy Hippogriffs, including their lord. Now, Royal Hippogriff Knights diving onto the unbraced halberds. This might be a mistake here. They are receiving an Earthblight healing them, but here comes a rear charge from Aeson the Fallen, doing massive shock damage to the Royal Hippogriff Knight. The Royal Hippogriff Knights are pinned down by the mass of the Tinge monster, allowing the halberd warriors to catch up and cut them down in melee fight, especially with the disorientated effect lowering their melee stats. But thankfully, Albrecht the Bordeloo managed to slay the beast, freeing up the Royal Hippogriff Knights once more. Losing the Vortex beast is definitely a huge blow to my army. Still, balance of power is fairly even, if not slightly in my favor. On the far side there, the last 6 Grail Knights over there are trying to chase down my Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes, but I'm not giving them the opportunity to catch myself in melee, and instead I am trying to go after Albrecht the Bordeloo here, using a regrouped but tattered Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes, using what little remains of their damage output to slowly chip away the health of the Royal Hippogriff Knights. Halberds are being charged by the Royal Hippogriffs, but they are holding, and I'm moving in with my rest of the army here. Even the Marauder Horsemen who ran out of ammo are charging in. The aspiring champions, the Severed Claw, are a little bit slow to collapse in, but at this point my opponent decided to throw in the towel. GG to my opponent Tristan for the game. This was played on the ranked multiplayer ladder, and there were no capture points since it was land battles. So players are not forced to engage each other, so I'm just quite grateful that in the end we didn't end up with any draw kiting action. Now for the army performances here, the Aeson the Fallen absolutely earning back his value, getting almost 3,700 gold worth of damage onto the Bretonnian army, using his Maelstrom of Change, draining away the health of Grail Knights, multiple of them in fact, and also the Royal Hippogriff Knights also getting hit in the process. The ability of the Aeson the Fallen, the Maelstrom of Change, is best against units with, I think, 24 unit models or above, so against Royal Hippogriff Knights isn't as effective, but still, damage is damage, especially when it's spread to multiple units, including the Beast Slayers and some of the peasants as well. So getting a lot of solid damage done, especially with its massive AP weapon strength, smacking some of the cavalry, and also Outbreak the Borderloo as well, blocking the retreat of the Royal Hippogriff Knights, allowing the Chaos Warriors with halberds to catch up and drag down some of these Grail cavalry's HP bar. Overall, very solid performance from Aeson the Fallen in this specific battle. The throwing axes also did well in whittling down the health of the Grail cavalry. Chaos Warriors with their armor-piercing anti-large did a very good job in grinding down the enemy elite cavalry, though the rest of the army not exactly doing as good of a job against the Bretonnians, as they were not quite able to earn back their value. Severed Claw still very healthy and ready to duke it out with the Bretonnian army in the end though, while on the other side, Outbreak the Borderloo plus the Grail cavalry worked through a lot of health on my units, including some of these Chaos Warriors, the throwing axes, horsemen, and Aeson the Fallen, but still, in the end, it was just too much damage against the Grail cavalry from the halberds, throwing axes, and Aeson the Fallen, and they were not able to bring Bretonnia and the Lady victory. And yeah, that's it for today's battle. I hope you all enjoyed this multiplayer action, and if you want to see more Total Warhammer multiplayer content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.